Freelancing sounds amazing, until it isn't. Let's talk about the real side nobody warns you about, and more importantly, how to handle it like a pro. Today, we're putting the freedom talk aside and looking at the structural failures that break most freelancers, and the exact systems you need to build to make sure you're not one of them. So you're thinking about going freelance. Maybe you already jumped in. Either way, this one's for you because there are some genuinely hard realities about freelancing that can catch you completely off guard if you're not ready for them. But here's the thing, and this is what most videos miss. Almost every single one of these challenges has a real practical solution. It's not about whether freelancing is hard. It is. It's about whether you're managing your operation the right way. Let's start with the one that hits almost every new freelancer first. Finding clients. Not just finding them, but finding them consistently. When you're starting out, you're essentially an unknown quantity in a market full of other freelancers competing for the same work. The pipeline feels dry. The silence feels personal. The rejection pile up fast. Here's what's actually happening though. Most freelancers approach client acquisition passively. They post a profile somewhere, send out a few pitches, and then wait. That's not a system, that's a wish. The freelancers who build sustainable business treat client outreach like a daily habit, not a one-time event. They show up consistently on the platforms where their ideal clients actually spend time. They build visibility before they need the work. When you flip from reactive to proactive, the whole game changes. Now, let's talk about income unpredictability, because this one doesn't just stress your bank account, it stresses your mental health. One month you're turning down work, then you're wondering where the next invoice is coming from. This is what people call the feast and famine cycle. It's one of the biggest reasons freelancers eventually quit or burn out. But the cycle exists largely because of how most freelancers structure their client relationships. Project-based work by nature ends. You deliver, they pay, and then the relationship goes quiet. The shift that changes everything is moving towards retainer arrangements wherever possible. Monthly retainers mean predictable income. This means you know in advance what's coming in and you can plan around it. Companies are willingly keeping a pro on call to manage the systems and tasks that require specialists. Here's another one that doesn't get talked about enough. Scope creep and boundary erosion. You take on a client, the project seems clear, and then slowly the asks start expanding. One extra revision becomes 5. A quick call becomes a Stanley weekend meeting nobody agreed to. Your weekends become fair game for urgent messages. This happens gradually, and if you're not paying attention, you wake up one day doing twice the work for the same pay and wondering why you're exhausted. The fix is boring, but it works. Clear contracts, define deliverables, documented revision limits, and communication window that you actually enforce. When you treat your business like a business and not just a hustle, clients follow your lead. The ones who don't are showing you exactly who they are before you've invested too much. Let's get into the client quality conversation, because not all clients are created equal, and every freelancer figured this out the hard way at least once. There are clients who are genuinely difficult people, disrespectful, demanding, and dismissive of your expertise. Then, there are clients who are perfectly nice but completely disorganized, which creates its own chaos. Both types cost you more than they pay you when you account for the time, energy, and stress involved. The solution is building a filter before contracts are signed. Discovery calls aren't just about selling yourself. They're about evaluating the client as much as they're evaluating you. How do they communicate? Are they clear about what they want? They respect your time even in that first conversation. Trust those early signals. They rarely lie. Now, here's the one that feels the most uncomfortable to talk about: the isolation. Traditional employment gives you a structure, a team, a social layer that most people don't realize they rely on until it's gone. Freelancing can be deeply lonely, especially if you're working from home with no real separation between your work life and your personal space. Over time, the isolation compounds. It affects focus, creativity, and motivation in ways that sneak up on you. Managing this isn't complicated, but it does require intention. Building a community around your work, whether that's online groups, co-working spaces, or even just regular calls with other freelancers. This creates the connection and accountability that an office used to provide. Your environment matters more than people admit. And then there's the no benefits reality. No paid leave, no employer contributions, no safety net built into your income, health coverage, retirement savings, tax obligation, all of it lands in your desk. This is genuinely one of the harder structural challenges of freelancing, and pretending it isn't doesn't help anyone. What does help is treating yourself like a business from day one. That means paying quarterly so the tax man doesn't show up with a penalty at the end of the year. It means budgeting for your own coverage and building an emergency fund before you actually need it. Freelancers who thrive financially aren't just good at their work, they're intentional about the financial infrastructure behind it. Here's the bigger picture. Every challenge we just walked through has one thing in common. They're all significantly more manageable with structure. The freelancers who struggle are often the ones treating their work like a series of gigs rather than running an actual business. The ones who build something sustainable are the ones who take operations seriously, who create systems, set expectations, protect their time, and constantly refine how they work. Freelancing is not for everyone. That's genuinely true. But the version of freelancing that breaks most people isn't the model itself. It's the unmanaged version of it. Build the structure, protect the business, and the freedom you came here for actually becomes possible. If this video gave you something to think about, drop a comment below. Tell us which one hit closest to home for you. And if you want more straight talk about building a real freelance operation, make sure you're subscribed. We've got more coming. GG's.